Alright. You don't have to talk into the camera or anything.
Okay.
Mr. Sexton, so I observed you this morning, around 7:15. I was in your classroom from 7:15 to 7:55. It was, an IPC class, right? IPC A or B?
IPCA,
IPC A.
chemistry part of IPC.
Chemistry part of IPC. All right, excellent. I was there for 35-ish minutes. Got a lot of good notes. So go ahead and just go ahead and walk me through your lesson step by step. How did that go? What did you guys do today?
Let's see here. So the topic was on basically learning how the elements on the periodic table are organized into groups based on certain properties, physical, chemical properties, and basically how they're organized, and some of the group names and what some of those special properties are of the different groups. And we had previously started it in a previous lesson where they were basically creating coloring in a key for the different groups so that they'd be able to recognize them and find them. And so we continued working on that. I guess actually I forgot to mention, starting off they did a warm-up that involved them just being able to find specific elements on the table, where it just helps them to find, especially some of the more obscure ones, and find the symbols, just to help them get better at finding elements, writing symbols down, and hopefully eventually committing a bunch from the memory so that they don't have to look at their periodic table as much. So they did that for the first 10 minutes ideally, although that could be something that I probably should have done, which was I didn't set a timer there for that, which is frustrating sometimes because it's hard to do with PowerPoint. You can't put up a timer in PowerPoint, and with ActiveBoard or whatever you can. And I love the timer in ActiveBoard.
Yeah.
So but I hate using ActiveShare.
Are you gonna be?
So I wish that's something if I do a PowerPoint warm up, I don't like that. If I do set a timer, the kids can't see it, and so I didn't set a timer this time, which I had been doing earlier because they were taking too long, and I didn't this time because they had been a little faster. But it still would have been better to have set a timer, I think. But I just didn't have one up on my computer, and I probably should have. That would have been a better thing that I could have improved on. So then we went to the lesson, which was them working on their key, coloring in a periodic table for the different groups. We talked about the various ones that are more important ones that they need to know, and along with, as they colored them in, we took some other more specific looks at them, watched a couple videos short video clips that hopefully got their attention and gave them a little information about what each of the different groups, how they're different, and some of the properties are. And then that was ending the lesson. We pretty much just went on through finishing up and watching a few video clips up until the end.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Good.
So, well, something I wish I probably would have been some type of exit ticket or reflective item to bring the class together as a whole, which was also something I could have probably done better on my part, is having that in there.
So what do you think? All right. So yeah, and we'll get into more detail about some of those things later. So what do you think went well then? With the lesson?
I think overall that everybody was participating. A couple of times when I thought, well, at least one person who looked like sleeping at least was still awake, which was good for first period.
Yeah.
So, but overall I thought participation was good, and I think most of the students were engaged in what we're doing and were interested. So I thought that was good. It's usually, I always like doing that lesson because usually they like the video clips that we show, I think are interesting, that I show for those ones. And yeah, they all, I I thought that was good participation and engagement. I thought was good on it.
Okay.
And I thought overall we were able to get through things in a fairly timely manner. So those are good things.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, good. So then, what do you think didn't go well then? And we kind of touched on that a little bit earlier,
Right.
but let's.
So I
put
wish,
those all together.
like I said, I wish maybe a little bit, time-wise, things getting a little better. We had some distractions, somewhat too, with some students as well, a couple times, who were, sometimes, get off on a tangent or something they want to talk about that probably isn't, and I probably should have been a little more, I wish I would have maybe been more, on keeping them on track and focused on the lesson. That sometimes they get a little excited or they get off on other topics sometimes.
Yeah.
And I could probably do a better job of my classroom management, keeping them on task, or as far as just being, raising their hand, probably something that I probably would be better reinforced so that they're all, no one's talking out of turn that way.
Yeah.
Because we had a couple moments where students were probably talking out of turn.
Yeah.
The timer, I wish I would have that for the beginning, just to make sure. I don't think it went over long, but I'm not sure. And so if I don't have a timer, then we might have gone over long, we might have not. But if I don't have that timer, then that always allows the possibility to go over long on a warm-up. And then, like I said, some type of closing, a better close to it. We had a good close to the video, and we didn't really have time to do any response things. Usually I like to always have a note card response where they write, so that way the students are writing, so I usually like to do that at the end. But timing-wise, we didn't quite get there, and so that was another probably timing error on my part, because we were unable to get to that ending response, individual response that I usually like to do.
Yeah.
Especially in a lesson like that, introduction, where they're introducing new things. I like to get them to their thoughts and ideas on something when it's introduced.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
those are things.
That's great. Good. So then, what do you think would? Well, and we kind of already talked about this, right? How would you change the lesson? And you said you would add some things that you would make improvements to. So I guess we don't really have to go over that again.
Okay.
Well, I will tell you what, and in my observation, I noticed pretty much basically, I felt like the lesson also went pretty well. I kept track of all the kids that were on task at 5-minute intervals, and kind of like you said, towards the end of your warm-up and stuff, you probably felt like that went a little bit long or whatever. There's the timer on the PowerPoint stuff. I saw some kids that weren't, were kind of getting a little off task at the end there, but you went right into the next part of your lesson, and you got all those kids back to being engaged. I think you had an average of about at least 90% engagement the whole time, or at least on task behavior. So the majority of your students were on task, which was fantastic. And for the most part, I think the lesson flowed pretty well, pretty easily. Went very smoothly, and you didn't have any kids that were giving you issues and trouble. You were asking a lot of questions, which was good. And not only were you asking questions, but you weren't doing global questions. You were picking on individual students to answer those questions. So I liked a lot of what you provided in that lesson, and I thought, at least from my perspective, it went really well. And it sounds like you did as well. So overall,
Like I said, I like that lesson.
No, and that's good. I thought that was a great lesson. I thought those videos were real interesting. Okay, well, last question then. I guess I'll ask you, is there anything I can do to help you in making any improvements as your administrator?
Yeah. Just continue feedback. Maybe we'll do more of these type of observations, so that I could, to see if if I'm able to correct some of the things I'd like to be able to correct a little more, I guess, and just continue the communication that we already have.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. So just keep that up, I guess that would be good, because that's helpful to me, be able to know that if I need help with anything, that I can come to you.
Mhm.
But yeah, that you can help me be accountable for our next time, you know, that, to see if I've actually improved on these, on those, the things that I wanna improve on, you know, so.
Absolutely, yeah.
If, like, you
and-
can actually keep, you know, next time we come back, we can look at that again next time around, maybe, and see if I'm improving that, on that. Or if you have any ideas too on how I can improve, maybe if you can think of something later to bring back to me to improve on those aspects.
Absolutely, I will send you all that data and all the information that I collected from your lessons, that way you'll have that to look at. And absolutely, we'll stay in contact, and yeah, I mean, you're a great teacher, Matt, so, Mr. Sexton, so I will definitely keep in contact, and if you want, we can always do more, so. Sounds
Cool.
good, yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah, no
appreciate
problem.
it, Mr. Player,
Yeah,
great.
yeah.